Howdy, howdy, everybody. Chris here. We are back in the garage. Today we're working on this Hyundai. I think it's a Santa Fe, but it's this little SUV. We are replacing the front bumper on it. You can see the front bumper is damaged, so we'll be repainting the front bumper, and then we'll be blending into the fenders in order to get a good color match. Now, this paint coat is a tri-stage finish, so that's a three-step process. You've got the color, you've got a mid-coat pearl you need to put over it, and then you put the clear coat on it. Now, recently online, I've heard claims that the clear coat we're using today is absolute junk. This is the same clear coat that I've been using for years, so we are going to use this $100 budget clear coat on this bumper today. So I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step process of painting a bumper, blending into the fenders, and kind of giving you some ideas and some tips and tricks and techniques so you can do something like this at home. We used an OEM bumper cover, so we needed to wash it really thoroughly with soap and water. Then we used a scuff paste, water, and a gray scuff pad to scuff up the entire bumper cover. That gets in all the tight areas, so it gets sanded really well. Then we want to clean it real well, and then we apply our sealer over it. Here, so the way we do this right here is the mixing ratio 4:1:1. We'll put our amount of sealer in, go to the 2, and then we'll put our activator in the next column, which is the 1 column, and we'll go to that 2. And then in the last column, we're going to have to double this up. We'll put our reducer. We use the U-Pole 2253V for our sealer. It mixes up 4:1:2. The activator we're using, the standard activator 2323. And then any urethane reducer. This is what I use. I get this off Amazon. Now, if you watched the last episode, we did that entire job with the Inokraft Drizzle Pro, and it produced a beautiful looking finish. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. In this episode, we're going back to the original Inokraft gun, the Inokraft Drizzle D1, which is a low volume, low pressure paint gun that consumes less air, and it really produces a nice finish. So now we can kind of compare the two guns, and you can decide for yourself which one produces a better finish. Personally, I like them both. I like the Inokraft Drizzle Pro for clear coat, and the Inokraft Drizzle D1 is a better base coat gun in my opinion. The Drizzle D1, it's a low volume, low pressure paint gun that consumes less air than a traditional gun, so it works fantastic with small compressors. Now, on the first coat of sealer, we're going to put it on kind of light. We don't want to put it on too heavy or wet because you can cause fish eyes if you do that. So I kind of put a light coat on, kind of light to medium coat for our first coat. We'll let that flash off for about 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll put a second coat on. The reason we're letting the sealer flash off is we want those chemicals to start to evaporate. We don't want to trap those chemicals in a second coat of sealer. That can cause solvent pops. While I'm finishing up my sealer here, let me give you some information on different types of bumpers you could get if you were replacing your bumper. So if you get a used bumper and the condition of the paint is okay, maybe it's got some minor fine scratches, or maybe the color's off and you just need to paint it to match the color, then you really don't need to strip it down. You don't need to strip it down to bare plastic. You can prep the existing paint as long as it's not peeling and as long as it's in good condition and get it prepped for paint. And the way you would do that is to sand it with 600 grit sandpaper. You could use 320 to remove any scratches that you need to remove and then primer those areas. But 600 grit is how you would prep that out, so you could put base on it and then clear coat. And it's all about adhesion. And even on this bumper, I don't even know if I mentioned it, but after we sanded it and got it ready for sealer, before we applied our sealer, we put adhesion promoter on it because it was raw plastic. Anytime you spray over raw plastic, you want to use some kind of adhesion promoter, whether you're putting sealer over top of it or base coat. But if you're spraying over raw plastic, like an OEM style bumper, you want to use sealer. So you don't want to put base over raw plastic. Now we're going to mix up our base coat. We got to let that sealer flash off for about 15 minutes before we apply our base. The base coat I'm using is the Nason XL. It mixes up 2:1, so we put 2 parts paint in and 1 part urethane reducer. As far as the gun settings for this Inokraft Drizzle D1, I set the fluid volume at about 2.5 to 3 turns out from closed. And I've got my fan pattern wide open. And then the air pressure, I like to keep it relatively low when we're spraying base because paint's expensive and we want a good transfer efficiency. I want the paint to go on the bumper and not all in the air, so we set it at about 15 to 19 PSI. That's still going to atomize the paint properly, but we're going to get good transfer efficiency that way and get a lot of paint on this bumper. It is important to get in all the edges when you're spraying. After you put the first coat on, you want to check all those edges with a light. Make sure you got all those covered really well. Now this particular color is a little bit transparent, so it's going to take probably 3 to maybe 4 coats to get it covered properly. Now remember, we're putting a mid-coat pearl on after we put our base coat or our ground coat on this. Now as far as the techniques to spray, you want to overlap your passes about 80%. So when you make a pass, you want to overlap that previous pass about 80%, and that'll get you good coverage. That'll give you good uniform metallics and a consistent finish. Remember, the gun settings I'm giving you for base coat are just suggestions. This is from my experience with this particular gun. It all depends on how you like to spray. And what we're looking for with our base coat is a smooth finish. You cannot get a smooth clear coat and a glass-like clear coat if you don't get a smooth sealer and you don't get a smooth base coat. That texture builds up and it ends up in your clear coat. So you do your best to lay out your sealer nice and flat, lay out your base nice and flat, and that'll give you a better opportunity to get a glass-like clear coat. So normally I wouldn't have applied sealer over this repair area, but there were some breakthrough areas, so I wanted to get a little bit of sealer on it before we put our base. Now what I'm focusing on right now is just covering the primer area on that one fender and the front edge of the other fender. So when we blend this, we have a good match from the bumper cover to the fender. I let that first coat of base flash off for about 10 minutes. It's important to let it flash off. It covers better when you let it flash off and then put your second coat on. So we're going to put our second coat over this bumper. The purpose of the flash time is to let those chemicals evaporate before you put our second coat on. Then we'll put our second coat over this fender, and I'm just covering the primer. We're going to blend it out a little bit later. Like I said, this color is very transparent, so I'm going to look over it really well with this light. It's easy to miss some primer spots. It's easy to get some areas that haven't been covered, so we'll look it over real well. This is a sunlight, so it's designed to act like the sun, and I can see a few little areas that I didn't get covered really well, so we're going to put another coat on this. And as you can see, the fender is still transparent, so we definitely need a couple more coats on this. This is the final coat of base on this fender, and you can see it's pretty much covered. I'll just blend it out a little bit, so we'll do a couple little drop coats. And basically what the drop coat is, I'm just going outside the primer area and I'm moving the gun away from the panel a little bit and dusting a coat on. That gives it a nice transition from the new paint to the old, and then we'll put our mid-coat pearl over it. I'll do one final check over the blends on the fender, and everything looks good here, ready for the mid-coat pearl. Now remember, with the mid-coat pearl, we're going to have to go outside that area where we put base on. But this is the pearl here that we're using. See how it's a little transparent? Basically, all we have to do here is 2 coats. We put them on back to back, and we're done. The pearl mixes up 2 to 1, 2 parts pearl and 1 part urethane reducer. And I'm just going to cover these areas, blend it out just like that, pass the base coat, do both fenders. And I may wait like a minute in between coats, but you can put them on back to back typically. And typically it's only 2 coats. Some pearl whites you might want to do a spray out, and you might want to kind of see how many coats you need to get the right shade of pearl. We'll do 2 coats over the bumper as well, and we'll be ready for our clear coat. After the 2 coats of pearl, we'll check it over with our light just to make sure everything looks uniform. Make sure we have a nice transition in our blend area. And now we'll mix up some clear coat. The clear we're using today is the Finish 1 FC710. This is a spot panel clear. So this is a quick drying clear. It's out of dust in like 15 minutes. So that means any dust that lands on it is not going to embed itself into the clear coat after 15. It's probably 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the temperature. Now, as far as the gun settings on these Inokraft Drizzle D1 that we're using, I like a little bit more air pressure with this gun when I'm spraying clear. So I like around 29, 30 PSI. It really seems to flow out really well with this particular clear at that air pressure. Now I have my fan pattern wide open, and our fluid volume is set at 2.5 to 3 turns out from closed. And I think you're gonna like the way this gun sprays. This is an inexpensive gun. Right around $100, you really can't beat it for the price, especially if you're just starting out, getting your feet wet in painting and clearing. This is a fantastic gun to start with. Now, with this particular clear, I will warn you, because it's a spot panel clear, it doesn't quite flow out like some of the slow drying clears. So it's a little bit harder to spray for beginners. It has a little bit more texture, but once you get used to it and know how to spray it, and I'll give you some ideas on how to spray this clear. And I'll give you some techniques on how to spray this clear if you're just starting out. But once you get used to it, it really flows out nice. I know there's some painters out there saying this clear is just absolute junk. It sprays well, it looks good, but it's not going to hold up. And that just lets me know that they have not used this clear extensively. They haven't put it on vehicles that they've had for a long period of time, because this clear does hold up and it doesn't peel or delaminate quickly like some of the other inexpensive clears. And I will be one of the first to admit you have to be careful with inexpensive clears, because some of them are junk and you really don't want to take a chance. But I can guarantee this clear will hold up. I've sprayed it on my own vehicles and had them for years and years. 4 to 5 years with no issue. And I've known other painters that have painted their vehicles with this clear and they've had really good durability with it. But remember, this is not an overall clear coat. This is a spot panel clear made for 2 to 3 panels. Finish One has other clears for overall paint jobs like the FC720 and the FC740. And I think there's another one that I haven't tried out, but I did try out the FC740, put it on my wife's car. You can check out that video if you look at my channel, and it still looks good after 1 year. It's been 1 year since we painted it, and it looks the exact same as I sprayed it, and she does not wash her car. And time will tell on that paint job. We'll see how it looks 4 to 5 years down the road. If you're spraying clear for the first time, there's some techniques that you want to follow. So the most important thing is consistency. A consistent distance from the panel at all times as you're spraying. You want to have a consistent speed as well. That's going to give you a nice uniform finish. Now you can adjust your speed and your distance according to how that clear coat's laying down. But you want to overlap your passes about 80%. A lot of times this is where beginners fall short. They feel like overlapping 80% is too much, and they're going to put too much clear on and they're going to run it. But that's not really the case. You need that overlap in order to get a consistent clear coat, to get a consistent finish, to get a consistent peel on your panel and in your clear coat. Couple things that are very important for beginners is your speed and your distance, a consistent spray pattern. But I think the most important thing is don't try and put your first coat on super heavy. Don't try and make it look perfect. You want a nice thin coat of clear for your first coat. Let that flash off for about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on your temperature, depending on your clear coat, because they're all different. So definitely check your technical data sheet. But this clear coat has a flash time of about 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, you can hit it a little bit harder and that clear coat's going to hold. So you're not going to get those runs, or you're not going to get those issues if you put your second coat on a little heavier. Now I spray my first coat on a little bit heavier, but I have the experience. But look at the finish of this clear coat. It looks fantastic. The Inokraft Drizzle D1 did a fantastic job of atomizing that clear and allowing it to flow out. This is not a super cold day we're spraying in. It's pretty warm, about 80 degrees. Now, I did use a slow activator with this clear coat, and that's something I would definitely recommend. And I'll leave links to the products I use down in the description. It has a few particles of dust that we're going to have to denib and clean up, but that's to be expected in an open garage. This is something that if you follow these steps, get a little bit of practice in, you can do something like this at home. And it's a great hobby to get started with. Listen, I know there's a lot of information in this video. I appreciate each and every one of you watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, definitely subscribe. Smash that like button if you appreciate this kind of content, and we'll see you on the next episode of Garage Noise. Be sure to check out our detailed digital guides to help you repair or restore your vehicle at garagenoisegear.com. And if you're interested in learning more, click on this video right now.